to another episode of Sports and Songs podcast. We're on season 4, episode 24. Tonight's a sports edition only, Andy. How are you?
I am doing well. How about yourself?
It's good. April 24th today. I'm sporting the Reds cap. I added another cap to the collection after going to the game last week. I've never owned a Reds cap ever, so I've got it. It doesn't really relate to tonight's show at all, but we do have baseball talk. And Andy, it's prom season.
It's prom season. We were out in the Hutchinson area there today, that direction, and it was prom out that way. Where were we? We were
Lester Prairie,
somewhere downtown, out in the Hutch area. And the guy goes, "Sorry, we're a little slow tonight. All of our high schoolers are at prom." So
nice.
That's not my picture from prom.
Well, here's Andy's photo of prom. No. Here is not. Here's the picture for prom that's going to be part of our trivia question, ladies and gentlemen. If you're following us here live on YouTube, there's a video of a tall gentleman with a young gal on a prom date. The question is, how should we phrase this?
Who's the guy who outkicked his coverage in that picture?
Who's the guy who outkicked his coverage in that photo? Now, the gal, her name is Paige Maddox. Greg Maddox's daughter.
Yes.
Her name is Paige. This was in high school down in Vegas area. Greg Maddox's daughter going to prom. The question for tonight's show is, who did she take to prom? Can
I give a clue?
Yes.
If you follow me on social media, not the show page per se, but my page, I saw this guy on Sunday.
Yes. So if you follow Andy's deal there, it's a name
my personal page, yes.
A name you'll know, but this is Greg Maddox, the All-Star, Hall of Fame, All-Pro pitcher for the Atlanta Braves. This is his daughter going to prom. This was many years ago. The question.
He was also with the Cubs and had a cup of coffee at the Padres too. Let's be fair.
And so, the question is, who did she take to prom? And we'll come back to that at the end of the show.
And I did not think that guy was old enough to take her to prom when I heard that.
Well, there's a good story behind it. We'll get to that at the end of the show too. There's a clipping. I grabbed a screenshot clip of the article because it's very, very funny actually. But
yes.
It relates to today's activities in sports. So, should I bring up let's see.
Let's go into my tidbit here. I got a couple different things before we get into our stuff. I kind of got it's not really a soapbox. I do have one of those later on. This is just something, a forum I want to be on, I guess. That's more than a soapbox.
Yes. Let me remove the agenda here.
Yes. I'll get to my screen here. Riley Gaines, she's a female swimmer. We've mentioned her name on here before. She swam against Mr. Thomas, Leah Thomas, a while ago, collegiate swimmer from Kentucky. Very good swimmer. Had to play second fiddle to a man. She has said, what she's doing is the right thing, and no one will silence her. House lawmakers recently passed a Protection of Women and Girls in Sports Act, despite not one Democrat voting in favor of the bill that will keep women from having to compete against transgender athletes or biological men. Riley Gaines, the perfect response to the situation over the Democratic state response. Now, okay, first of all, before I go any further, this is not a political rant. This is a protect women in sports rant. So,
yep, fair enough.
Just stopping myself right there so you don't think I'm picking on one or the other. I don't care what party you are on this. I think it should be only women in sports. So I'll continue. Representative Glenn Ivey of Maryland has made it clear he is siding with the biological boys and men destroying women's sports with his ludicrous tweet after the bill was passed by the House. You can go to either one of these people's Twitter pages and see the exact same thing I got on the screen here. This is as of yesterday, so this is not like old news I'm pulling up to pick a scab or fill time. Representative Ivey puts down, the bill does not put children first. Sports should be safe, accessible, and fair for everyone. But this would impact all student athletes across the nation. So he kind of double talks. He says that he's trying to protect the sport, make it safe for everyone, but he's not. Riley came back and said, checking a birth certificate and or ensuring everyone has a routine physical before competing is equal to the violation of personal dignity. Forcing girls to undress in front of, and in fact, an exposed male, not an outrageous violation of personal dignity, but rather kind of inclusive. She's basically, her beef is here, and I agree with, women compete against women, men against men. She doesn't like the fact that she's got to change in front of someone who was born a man. Kind of makes her uncomfortable, which would make me uncomfortable. If also some gal who claims she was a man wants to come change in front of us, I would have a problem with that. A few things just to straighten the facts out here too. Again, if you want to be a transgender or are transgender, or you want to change from boy to girl or girl to boy, go ahead. I do what you want to do. It's not my problem. But if you're in sports, get out of the sport then. Or wait till you're done with high school and college, then do this. Don't change your gender and then play for their team in the sport just to be good at it. If you still want to play the pickup game of hoops with everybody afterwards, fine. Don't take a scholarship away from someone for it.
Yeah, and the reason we bring this up is, who is she competing against? Is Leah Thomas?
Leah Thomas, yeah, she
Leah
tied
Thomas.
and lost to him. Okay, I'm gonna say him.
Yeah, and he was very good swimmer in male collegiate swimmer. I think at one point ranked 6th in the nation, maybe individually.
Yeah, he was in the top rankings. He was doing well. All of a sudden, wanted to be a woman and just blew everybody out of the water.
So now switched in the middle while in school at the same school, then joined the women's team, and is now easily the #1 best swimmer in the nation. But it's a man. It was formerly a man. So
and Riley kept up with him too.
I got no problem with people do with their outside life and what gender they want to be or what sex change they want to be. And you can certainly do that after your high school career is done, after your college career is done. But the point here is is this person, in this case, Leah Thomas, did it on purpose to get a better standing in her sport, in their sport mid-career in the 4 years at college. And that's exactly what happened. And so this is Riley Gaines' response to this. She's a really good swimmer herself, but like you said, Andy said, you're taking away now a women's female scholarship on the team and giving it to him, which is now someone's losing the spot on the team. They have the uncomfortable changing in the locker rooms, all these things that flow from it. And this is a good point. It's a very good point.
And like I said, save women's sports. I'm all for that. You'll probably see that on my social media a lot anyway coming up during this. Again, do what you want to do in your own personal life. Again, like we said before, last year, what you did this. You got girls who've been trying since 3rd grade to play basketball, softball, swimming, whatever. That might be their only ticket into college is a scholarship. Now he's going to come along and take a scholarship away from the girls' team. You don't know who you just booted out. Is it someone who's going to now have to drop school because that scholarship was the only thing they were there for? Okay, that's the spouse of a teacher talking right there, but still.
Yes. But it does get into all the domino effect and the backlash of all this.
Yeah, so many other things besides I get to win. Who did you knock out? How did that affect them? Because the rest of your team, maybe they don't want to compete now. Now, they might transfer schools just to compete fairly to a different conference, but now they're getting as good an education. So there's lots of things to it too that let's not muddy the waters. Let's keep it boys play with the boys, girls play with the girls. And
Riley knows the backlash that she's going to get, and she doesn't care. And so it's nice to see her standing up.
Yep. Breaking news: Aaron Rodgers traded to the Jets today. There's been a lot of scuttlebutt about it, but he has been traded to the Jets, and here we go. According to Adam Schefter of ESPN, the Packers are sending Rodgers, the 15th overall pick and the 170th overall pick, 5th round, to the Jets for a 13th pick, 42nd pick, 207 pick and a conditional 2024 second round pick. It turns into a first round pick if Rodgers plays 65% of the team's plays.
Okay.
Now, if we follow this pattern, 18 or 15 years ago, Favre went to the Jets and then came to Minnesota the year after. So look for in 2 years to Aaron Rodgers be a Minnesota Viking.
Nice.
Now, write this day down your calendar. And Adam Schefter reported. Adam Schefter, if you're not familiar with him, he is to ESPN what Kip Kovar is to the Herald Journal. He's just like the football guy.
Yeah.
He's not just a football. He's like if Kovar said something about something happening in our area for high school teams here, he's got his finger on that pulse. He knows what's going on. So Adam Schefter is not just some guy at ESPN. He is their draft analyst.
He's good. He's good. Very good source.
Yeah, he's like a Mel Kiper Jr. when it comes to drafting and players too. So very good man.
The draft is coming up Thursday, Andy, with round 1, and then Friday is rounds 2 and 3. Saturday is rounds 4 through 7. And many thought that because all offseason, or a better part of the offseason, the Aaron Rodgers trade speculation has been going, and they needed to bring some kind of closure to this because the Packers have got to draft who they need for the year based on the conclusion of this, and the Jets need to draft their players for the year based on the conclusion of this. Now they've got answers, and now they can focus on what they're going to do. Makes sense.
Jordan Love all set to be the quarterback for the Packers. Let's move on. Let's go get guys practicing. Let's get to it.
Now, how old is Aaron Rodgers?
He built the Packers for 18 years.
So what they
40.
Because he's getting up there in age, I think there's a clause to see, is he going to play 65% of the plays for the Jets? Basically saying if he's going to go there and he's hurt, doesn't play, not a factor, then it's not that big of a deal. But if he's going to go as a stud quarterback, which he is right now, and that's what the Jets are hoping for, even though he's old, he's still a stud quarterback. Mm-hmm. That's what they need. So we'll see if it pans out, and that's why they got the conditional in there.
And I've seen 2 different pictures, him with a Jets 12 jersey, him with a Jets number 8 jersey. So we'll see how that happens.
Okay.
He should wear 4 just to piss off Favre.
Yeah, Favre.
Anyway, Major League Baseball. Let's go through the standings here. Here we go. These are as of this morning. So any games this afternoon or they're going on right now are not affected here. And we're getting into week 3 here now. It's not after week 1 where someone's had a hot week. Some of these might start sticking where you got the Orioles in second place. Are they for real? A lot of are they for reals, I think, one in each division here, really. I mean, the Jays 13-9, that's not bad. They're 6 out because Tampa got off such a great start. So, again, I think the East would be a tough division. But the Orioles in second place, are they for real?
Red Sox in last. And even though they're not that good, the Red Sox are always tough.
But they're still above 500.
What's that?
They're in last place above 500.
Yes.
Which leads us to the Central where we got Twins are 2 games above and the rest are at 500 or worse. So the White Sox, kind of surprising. Everybody said they thought they'd be better than they are. See how that turns out.
Yeah, I know before the season started, people were saying the Guardians would win the Central. And most people had either the White Sox or the Twins in second place for that wild card spot, but certainly not the Tigers or the Royals. But the White Sox are really surprising.
Yep. You go to the West, the Rangers, are they for real? Bochy is a coach. They picked up a lot of good players in the offseason, filled in a lot of holes. We'll see if they all stay healthy, though. Mariners, who finished strong, are just below 500, and the Angels at 500 this late in the year. Who'd have thunk it?
Wow.
And the A's, I got more stuff on the A's later, but I was reading a stat the other day. They've already given up more than 100 runs than what they've scored.
Yes, they have. And their pitching staff leads the league in walks. It's just.
Yeah, it's almost embarrassing how bad they are.
It's really bad.
National League, Mets half game behind the Braves. Mets just came off a 7-3 road trip on the left coast, losing the last 2 of the Giants. So they did well there. Marlins a couple games up. So we'll see there. Nationals actually doing better than people thought.
Wow.
Pirates, are they for real? 16-7. And really, what did they really add? Okay, Andrew McCutchen went back. Okay, nice veteran player leadership. But did just all the pieces start clicking for the Pirates?
I think they got good chemistry.
That's a lot. It's kind of like what the Astros did a few years ago. They just flushed everybody out, called up the AAA team basically, and took them a couple of years to mold together, but there they are. There's the Cubbies 3 games above 500. Holy cow. The Diamondbacks in first, tied with the Dodgers. The Diamondbacks being 12-11 doesn't surprise me that much. The fact that it's good enough for first place is what surprises me.
Yes.
I mean, this division last year, Dodgers, Padres, Giants, all with 90 wins, and here we are. There's our logo if you're looking for us on the Facebook page. And here's some things we had on Facebook this week. Ohtani could be traded and will definitely leave the Angels if they fall out of playoff contention this season, per Major League Baseball reporter Jeff Passan.
Okay.
This is inside. I got my finger on the Mets' pulse here.
You think the Mets?
Do not look for him to be in a Mets uniform.
Okay. Do not. Okay.
No, he will not be a Met.
Well, it's complicated. Wherever he goes, they're going to need someone, because he'd be pitching and hitting and, take up a couple roster spots there on wherever he goes, in a good way, that is.
If he does go to the Mets, it might be a just for the end of the season deal, but they won't sign him afterwards.
That could be.
So. And here the Oakland A's released a statement basically saying they have purchased land in Vegas.
Okay.
So it's, again, kind of like the Brett Favre trade to the Jets. We all knew this was coming. It's official. Paperwork has started. So, Town Ball. The season should have started this weekend. A lot of teams had to reschedule because of field conditions.
Yep.
Now, get your little planners out. Here's some games to remember coming up this year. There's your Town Ball schedule for Channel 9. Freeport, Newmarket, Gaylord, Litchfield, St. Joseph, Forest Lake, and Lonsdale. So there we go.
Yep.
And Knocking Out Cancer game, Crow River League against the North Star League. There we go. Saturday, June 10th.
And we will be in attendance there.
Yes. We will be there for the 3 games. We will we got a big weekend that weekend in baseball. We got these 3. The next day there's a doubleheader in Delano, and I have a family member, my cousin's boy, playing in a game on Delano that day also. So another triple header for me the next day.
Lots of baseball action. Good time of the year too.
Yeah, should be a full baseball weekend for me that weekend. Look for the Instagram stories that weekend. That should be fun. And the Red Devils have announced 75 years with lights, Saturday, June 24th. June 24th, 1948. Hutchinson came to town for Watertown's first ever night game.
Okay.
Here we are, June 24th.
Interesting. Okay, so a rematch on the 75th anniversary.
75 years later.
Hutch is always good. That should be a good game.
Pretty sure they've changed the light bulbs since then, but yeah.
All right, so the 24th, I'm writing that down.
Yeah, got that one down, 24th, Saturday. Maybe we'll stop at the Riv, use our beer card for a beer beforehand. And we can use our beer card at the stadium here too.
That's correct.
Doesn't get any better than that.
The Huskies. Okay, got it.
The soapbox, Dan's favorite part of the show.
All right, what have we got?
He lives for this part.
I love it. I love it.
You know this weekend, you know how my blood runs, blue and orange. You know what I'm talking about here.
Oh, yes.
Max Scherzer, he was the 3rd pitcher ejected for substance, and it was all by the same umpire.
Okay.
Now, when Cuzzy did it, here's the part that went up. Oh, whew. When it was in the Twins game, he threw Rocco out and kept the pitcher in.
Yep.
And like Scherzer said, and on Sunday Night Baseball last night, David Cohn kind of gave it a example, kind of like watching Mr. Wizard there, what he was doing. What pitchers have always done, on your glove hand, you could put rock rosin on your glove hand. Keep it dry because you're wearing a glove. Well, just as you know, you put any powder on a wet hand, it's going to get tacky. Well, he went in the back room, used alcohol to wash it off, and I don't mean Jack Daniels. Alcohol to wash it off. Well, that doesn't really wash it off. It's still wet, and you're still putting rosin on it. But everybody does it. The league said you could do it, or else they'd all be getting thrown out for it. Why would you admit you're doing it if the league said you couldn't? Scherzer's saying it's sweat and rosin. He had been checked every inning. He knew he was going to get checked again. And even like Scherzer said, he goes, if it was illegal, why would I do it if I know I'm getting checked for it the next inning? It's legal. He did it. And yet Phil Cuzzy had to toss him anyway. Scherzer was going to appeal the 10-game suspension, and the Mets said don't do it. Now, Scherzer was pitching this game on 8 days rest. I think where the Mets were coming from, this is kind of my problem with pitcher suspensions.
Okay.
A 10-game suspension is one start.
Yep.
You give Pete Alonso a 10-game suspension, that's 10 games.
Yep.
Now, once a pitcher's supposed to have a 6-week suspension for something like this to miss equivalent games, I don't know. How do you make it fair? Because if you do that, okay, so if this is Ohtani, could he still bat? Could he still play outfield? You know, that's the whole thing. No, he couldn't. He's suspended, but still. Pitchers got longer suspensions. How would you play his card? I think,
interesting. Yep.
you know, and they brought up a good point at ESPN last night too. You got 60 umpires a night that interpret the rules 60 different ways. I mean, you and I could interpret the rules differently. I mean, we know what the rule book says. If you think it's sticky, well, my definition of sticky and yours sticky are different.
Well, it started with the Twins game. It all started with the Twins game.
Then the Diamondbacks game a couple days later, and then Scherzer. So
and what they did was the ump said on the Twins against the Yankees game that the pitcher had a foreign substance on his hand. He forced him to go to the locker room to wash it off.
Yep.
And then come back out and pitch the next inning. What Rocco said was the rule is if there's a foreign substance, the player is immediately ejected. Not if it's tacky, not if it's sticky, not if it's rosin, not if it's sweaty, if it's a foreign substance. So Rocco said, if he had a foreign substance, why did you let him back in and why wasn't he immediately ejected? And so that's what got under Rocky's belt. He said, well, we made him wash it off. He came back and it was clean the next time. Well, Rocco said it's an immediate ejection from the game if you feel that there's a foreign substance.
Yep.
The ump felt that there was a foreign substance and he made him wash it off. That was the deal. Now, these next two guys come up, and I think that you got issues with the umpires to say that, well, now we let him go. What are we going to do? We really got to put the hammer down on the next ones. So maybe that's what the hammer was here to make. They made the mistake on the one and did the other two. I don't know, but you're right. It's the same people. It's the same crew.
And here's the other thing now. If you saw this guy has precedence, so I'm not taking away from the other managers here. If you got Phil Cuzzy on your squad and he's the head umpire of that game, you're kind of buying yourself a timeout here and some extra time to warm up. Hey, I want you to check his glove. Hey, check that pitcher out. I think he's got sticky stuff there.
No.
You just gave your other pitcher more time to warm up. You just gave your batters time to get ready. Or do you play the reverse card going, ooh, I don't have a pitcher ready yet. I'll send my guy out there with the dirty hand and make the ump toss him and we'll argue it and they'll buy me time.
Delay it all.
They're just going to play this game. I think someone's got to Phil Cousin go, no. Get a second opinion for you toss. Get someone else, another umpire going, is this sticky to you? Is this sticky to you? You could do that.
It's a
Now you got
tough
the
thing
umpires fighting amongst
because
themselves.
there's no repercussion then for the umpire if they make a mistake. If they do something wrong, are they then ejected? Are they suspended if they made a bad decision on the field? See, the problem is you don't get it the other way.
Yeah, and if you got different umpire and crew or same umpire and crew, one guy says sticky, one doesn't. Okay, now you got dysfunction in the hierarchy there, you know.
Yep.
So all I gotta say is Angel Fernandez is very happy for Phil Cuzzy right now.
He's not in the news at all.
Taking a lot of heat off of him.
The spotlight has been
Spotlight is gone. Now I hope Angel's not sitting there going, "Hold my beer, Phil. Let me show you something."
Oh yes, that'll be next.
So just if you're any team, you watch your team on TV, you're at the game, and you hear Phil Cuzzy's on the umpiring crew, pay attention, baby. Our 80s baseball stat of the week.
I like this.
It's a minor league stat. The Rochester Red Wings and the Pawtucket Red Sox played to a 2-2 tie through 32 innings before it was suspended at 4:07 a.m., April 19th, 1981. Marty Barrett, second baseman for the Red Sox later on in 86, scored the winning run in the 33rd inning, June 23rd, 1981. So they stopped the next day, first inning they scored. 33 innings.
That's a long game.
It's a lot of ball. Now, not to be outdone.
Left on the bench. I mean,
yeah, no kidding. Pitching wise, holy cow, what are you doing there? Everybody's pitching now. And maybe I'm partial, but I feel sorry for the catcher on that game.
Yes, or the catchers, however many they had.
Now,
Barrett. Yep.
We mentioned Greg Maddux earlier. Him or Ricky Henderson or Tony Gwynn. I got to mention them every week too.
Yes.
So here we go. Willie Mays was a 301 lifetime hitter in the big leagues. Tony Gwynn was a 302 lifetime hitter with 2 strikes.
Well, that is unreal. Golly.
Yeah.
Dang.
So, just a little Tony Gwynn stat of the week there too.
Just with 2 strikes, he's a 302 hitter. Lifetime.
Yeah.
Not in one season.
Not over the weekend. No, lifetime hitter. So, yep. Stanley Cup playoffs. Here we go. As of Monday morning, this is how we were looking. Upper left side of your bracket, you got Colorado ahead of the Kraken. They're 2-1. You got the Stars and the New Stars, or the Stars and the Wild, tied at 2. Lower half of the bracket, Las Vegas Knights over Winnipeg 2-1. Oilers and Kings, Wayne Gretzky's former teams, tied at 2. Right side, upper part of the bracket, Boston ahead of Florida 3-1. And Toronto ahead of the Lightning 2-1. Carolina ahead of the Islanders. Rangers are ahead of the Devils, actually. That's really the only upset, but when it's a 3/2, is that really an upset? But
yeah, it's
according to the odds, the numbers, yes. But so there we go. And I got one more thing before we go. Spring football is here for a lot of colleges, Dan. They're getting their first game in, their practices. Coach Primes in Colorado, their spring football attendance was 47,277.
For a spring game.
The temperatures were in their 30s after heavy snowfall. The previous record for a spring game was 17,800. He had 30,000 more people there.
Oh, I did not know.
For Coach Prime.
Yes.
So,
see, that's what a head coach hiring can do to a program. And I think the Gophers have been trying this for 50 years or more. You know, they bring in Lou Holtz,
Tim Brewster.
They're trying to do something that could make an impact like
Tim
this.
Brewster wasn't quite there. He was close.
Yeah.
The Brewman was almost there. But that just shows you what, and how much money that stadium and school make on tickets that day, and shirts and hats and foam fingers. You know,
yes.
Prime time can go 500 and they're not going to care. They got Coach Prime.
That's going to be
and this is the kind of numbers we wanted to get when they got Mr. Boat Rower in here with the Gophers. What's his name?
Yes.
Blank on his name. Anyway, but he was a big name, but in a mid-conference. He wasn't a big name from a big school.
Yeah, not a big name. It was Deion is going to change.
Like with basketball, they brought Tubby Smith in for the Gophers. We were kind of hoping for this kind of turnaround. And they kind of had it a little bit, but Minnesota fans are so skeptical. It's like Tubby Smith still won't win 30 games. He still won't win 25 games. Colorado, they don't care. Prime time.
That is right huge. There. That's a great stat.
I'm pretty sure right now with this number, ESPN, ABC, well, it's the same companies, but you're going to see Colorado as your prime game every week, your noon game. They'll be at night on ESPN or Fox at least twice.
And like you said, you have to follow the social media.
And here's the sad thing. Look at his numbers last year, too. He's a good coach. He's not just a name. He's a good coach. So that's my bit.
Wow.
That's all I gotta say about that. My friend Forrest Gump would say.
Well, what we have here is the only thing I've got for sports we didn't touch on. It's not that important, but to some I think it is, maybe XFL. We cover it every week. The regular season is done. The playoffs have been announced. We'll see that one game Saturday night and the other divisional championship game Sunday afternoon. And then the week after that it's a bye week. It's a rest up week. And then they have the championship game. USFL came in. They've now completed 2 weeks of regular season. So nothing going on there. We got the draft this weekend, and the XFL championship games. That's the big news. Now for baseball, Andy, the Twins are going to be playing the Yankees, a 3-game series at Target Field. And what I did today was look at the pitching staffs of each of these, the pitching staff. Both are in the top 5 pitching staffs as a team in all of Major League Baseball. And we're talking lowest amount of walks issued by a team, by an entire staff. We're not talking just starters or bullpen or closers. Lowest number of walks, and the top 5 in strikeouts, and the lowest 5 in ERA, and the lowest 5 in runs allowed, earned or not. This should be a good matchup with the pitching staffs. Twins, you never hear this talk. That's why I'm kind of going on a couple, 2 or 3 weeks here on this rant. But it's fun to watch a team that can hold the opponents down game in and game out so low. And strikeout guys, no walks. It's just very efficient. A lot of quality starts, which I'm a fan of the quality start stat.
I was at the game Sunday, and that bullpen we got, those 2 relievers come out the 8th and 9th inning. They throw some heat. Lopez and Duran. Home.
So it's the fastest, I think, of the closers. 8th and 9th inning guys are throw the most heat of all the teams in baseball. There's no combination 1-2 punch that both.
For those of us our age, it was like watching Rob Dibble pitch. Just you want a fastball or a faster ball. That's what you're getting, And
so it's fun. It's fun to watch. Yankees very good, but once again they're in the East, and you get the. Everyone was expecting the Blue Jays, Yankees to be up there, and once again, it is the Orioles in second place. It is the Rays in first place. So we'll see how long that goes.
Get back to your spring football. AJ McCarron, quarterback, blown up all the records. So watch him.
Did he have 6 touchdown passes?
Yeah. They said in all forms of the leagues over the years, he's like breaking all the records. So this might be a great forum for him to come back into the NFL as a starter somewhere. We'll see.
Now, the other note that I have is it might be confusing for those who love spring football because Houston has a team in the XFL and Houston has a team in the USFL. There's 2 teams, very rare anomaly. And so anyway, they have 2 teams going live concurrently at the same time. And St. Louis, the team that was drawing 35,000 fans for home games, End of the year with a winning record, but did not make the playoffs because of how the playoffs are set. So I saw a lot of tweets, a lot of angry tweets saying we deserve to be in the playoffs. For St. Louis fans. We're providing 75% of the income for the whole XFL from one team alone, and they want to be in. Well, that doesn't make the rules. That doesn't make the standings. You finish third place. The top two go to the playoffs. Yeah, they had a good team. They were fun to watch. And yes, the franchise is successful from a professional standpoint, from a business standpoint. They are successful. But you didn't make the playoffs. Your season's done. Pack your gear. Look forward to next season. But lots of crying on Twitter from the Battlehawks fans because they said, we should deserve to be in. How can you not let us be in the playoffs? Well, that's the it's kind of Bush League to some extent. But that's what we're talking about. That comes with the territory. Now, that's all I got for sports. We have a trivia.
Go back to the picture now, Andy, if you can.
Okay. This one has.
That's all right. I'll get the answer then. Here we go. There he is.
Okay.
Get my mug off there. Show just up. There it is.
So here's the answer, ladies and gentlemen. Mr. Joey Gallo
threw a no-hitter in high school.
That night, he took Greg Maddox's daughter to the prom. Now, here is, if you're wondering how this all went about, I have a clip. Andy, I'll have you read this. It's pretty good.
With my old eyes, I ain't reading that small print. There we go. All right. Speaking on the Major League Baseball Network, Gallo mentioned that he had pitched in high school, and that he had the very day he pitched a no-hitter for Bishop Gorman, he escorted Maddox's daughter Paige to the prom. So it was an interesting day.
Yes,
says Mr. Gallo. But showing up and having him talk to Greg for 20 minutes and talking to his daughter and taking his daughter to the prom was pretty nerve-wracking for a 17-year-old.
17-year-old. There's Joey Gallo right there, hitting homers for the Twins, taking Greg Maddox's, one of the best pitchers in the history of baseball, daughter to the prom. He was 17 years old, and the key stat here, he's a Gold Glove outfielder, currently playing first base, but pitched back in high school, as many pro athletes do. Threw a no-hitter on the day that he took Maddox's daughter to the prom.
No, you go to
can't
prom
make it up.
And you got a game that day. What are you gonna do? What are you? I'm trying to look here. Is he married? Did he marry her? Personal life.
I doubt it, but this was many, many years ago. But because he played, he played for the Rangers. He played for a couple different teams. I think that this stat and this trivia question has made its rounds. But because he's new here in Minnesota, it's prom season. I figured I'd throw it in there because a lot of locals
he played. It says here, look at his stuff. He played youth ball in Vegas with Bryce Harper and Chris Bryant. Chris's dad, Mike, was one of his coaches. So, yeah. So, those three. And, it is what it is. It just shows you a lot of these guys that are outfielders or first basemen were pitchers in high school, but they're not pitchers now. Jacob deGrom was a shortstop in high school. He's a pitcher now. So,
yes.
You think, how could they do it? Not a lot of them pitched their whole life. They didn't start changing until college or afterwards. So,
true. Good stuff, though. But hopefully we could get a laugh out of the viewers here on the episode tonight. It's good chuckle with big, tall, 6 foot. Is he 5'6" or 6'5"?
Little Page
big man.
Now,
little Page.
Next week is going to be a little special episode. I will not be here. It'll be a NFL draft review show. Dan and special guest on there.
We'll have a special
guest on. Middle of the week episodes. Yeah, we got a lot of stuff going on. The whole Save Women's Sports thing. I'll probably do something on that. I'll do a midweek show. And check out some of the songs episodes. Done some interesting songs ones the last couple of weeks. Get some good views. All right. That's all I got.
Good album reviews.
See ya.
Have a good week. See ya.